That is none other than Aaron Nagler of Cheesehead TV. Nags,
What's
are
up,
you
Nags?
excited? Are you excited?
I'm thrilled. I mean, I just got a splash of reality about my own mortality there, but I'm excited for preseason football in a way that I have not been for many years. I mean, the
You're not
idea
the
that
only
it's
one.
like a brand new offense, brand new quarterback, bunch of young dudes. Let's go. I'm excited.
How? Let's talk about your watch party. You're going to be at Stadium View with Matt
We
Ramage.
are, me and Matt Ramage, going to be at Stadium View here in Green Bay. You guys know we do watch parties throughout the season on YouTube. Corey and I, my co-founder, but just seeing as I'm in Green Bay, waiting for them to get back here for the joint practices with the Patriots, I thought we'd do a little live action, something in person this time. So
There you go.
yeah, Matt and I will be at Stadium View in Green Bay, starting about 6:30, and then through the game, just chatting it up, drinking beers, and watching football. It's gonna be
Having
a lot of fun.
pregame fish fry. Is that your pregame meal?
Not
Yeah.
tonight, but next Friday, most definitely hitting up a fish fry with a couple Cheesehead TV people because then after the Patriots game, I'm gone. So I got to get my Wisconsin in.
Got to
No
get
doubt.
your Wisconsin in. I just thought, well, you know how they set up checkpoints now. I don't know if you know this.
Oh,
What's
they
this?
check your breath for tartar sauce.
They do on Fridays. It's like, what are you? They
Amazing.
pull you over.
Amazing. Got to do it,
Have you had any rye bread, sir?
Mhm.
sir.
Is that a potato pancake in that styrofoam container?
They're
Yes,
just set up
I'll check.
right outside Mark's East Side in Appleton, just like getting
Okay.
people coming
Is that
down Wisconsin
Perch?
Avenue.
All right.
Love
That's
it.
perch, isn't
Perch,
it?
isn't
That's
it?
perch.
So, Nags, let's talk football tonight. Let's talk about
Yes, sir.
the X's and O's, the machinations of what we'll watch. Other than Jordan Love, what's number 2 on your list of things that Nags is going to watch?
I mean, there are a smattering of like players that I'll be watching. It's preseason football is still football, kind of. It's light, right? There's no game planning. You're not really kind of trying to sequence your plays or call things to take advantage of the opponent. You're really just calling a lot of your basic install stuff. So I really like to hone in on certain players. And a couple of the guys I'm looking at tonight, number one, it's Sean Ryan, the second-year offensive lineman who really pretty much had a wasted rookie season, but he has come back and it looks like a completely different player, a backup offensive lineman along the interior. I think he like I said, he's looked so different this year. I'm fascinated to see what happens in a game situation. And the other guy I'm really going to be looking at is Carrington Valentine, the rookie corner who has suddenly been thrust into a pretty significant role with the first team, both this week in Cincinnati and late last week here in Green Bay. All signs point to Jair Alexander not playing in this game. I think that's smart. I don't think there's any reason to play him. But it's looking like Valentine's going to get a significant number of snaps, and he has really looked the part in practice. Like he has had a number of big plays, really good at breaking on the ball, got good instincts. But it's practice, right? You want to see some of that get carried over into a game situation. And tonight, hopefully, we get to see a little bit of that on display.
Talking with Aaron Nagler, cheeseheadtv.com. What about any other rookies on the offense, perhaps?
I mean, all the young pass catchers, right? I think everyone's really excited to see Jaden Reed in action, especially Luke Musgrave. That speed, I mean, it's as advertised, I can tell you. I remember when our colleague John Kuhn earlier this offseason mentioned on Twitter, he's like, I don't recall a team that looked this fast, in person. Musgrave's a big part of that component. He is so noticeably faster than pretty much everyone on the field. And you've seen a lot of plays during install periods at these practices where they're drawing stuff up for him, for a rookie. So I think, there is a plan in place to get him the football at times throughout this season. Hopefully we start to see that kind of take off tonight because he's exciting with the ball in his hand, no doubt about it.
I know this isn't a Jordan Love thing, but I was thinking it'd be very exciting to watch the offense to see what if there's any difference. But there really isn't going to be because last year in spring training, it was Jordan Love running the offense. So
Right.
probably wasn't audibling out of things and making his own calls then. So we probably won't see anything too different than what we're used to.
I don't think we'll see the volume of checks and things at the line of scrimmage, but that's still part of the offense, right? And we saw it last year in Philly where Jordan did a really good job at the line of scrimmage, getting them in and out of things. They still run a ton of what they call can plays where you get up to the line of scrimmage and you have 2 plays called, and it's at the discretion of the quarterback dependent on what is happening across the line, what he reads. He'll say, it's a check with me essentially, and it's you either keep with the first play, or if he makes the call, you go to the other play. That's certainly something you'll be looking for tonight from Jordan and all the quarterbacks, really, because again, That's a fundamental part of the offense. That's not just Aaron Rodgers changing plays, that we've talked about ad nauseum throughout the years. That's a legit part of the offense. So he's got to run it, and you got to think you'll probably see some of that tonight.
Is Josh Myers under the microscope for you, Nags?
Very much so.
And for all of us, by extension?
I don't think there's any doubt. You can't get through a practice without at least one really unfortunate rep from Josh. And unfortunately, that was kind of the book last year. The lack of consistency. And what's frustrating is you see the talent. You see him do it, so he can. It just seems every once in a while there's a stretch or a play or two where he really gets taken advantage of. And we've legit now seen Zach Tom getting plenty of reps with the ones at center. I'm fascinated to see how much that plays out tonight, how much work both of those guys get, not only with Jordan at quarterback, but just in general at the center position, because it sure feels like that competition is on, and Zach's got a shot to win that gig.
The times that there were fumbled exchanges when we were up there, it was almost exclusively Josh Myers.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Unfortunately, but
so Zach Tom's going to start. So if they end up starting Myers and keeping Tom on the right side, right? Mm-hmm. Is it just lip service? Do they just decide that Josh Nijman's more valuable in that plug and play for the injury thing? Is that the part of the cat? Because the cliche is always we're going to put the 5 best guys out there, but are they if they decide, or do they?
Favorite phrase, right?
Or do they want to have a top flight in case let's face it, in case Bach goes down,
right,
or something like that happens there? Do they want to have Josh there, as the
to be able to step in and not have to switch everything around,
yes,
right? Because that's the other thing. Like as soon as you start moving one guy and then it causes a domino effect. I don't think it's lip service. I do think whoever wins that battle at right tackle is going to win it outright. But the problem is so much of it is going to be informed by what happens at center if Zach's truly competing at that position, right? But look, it's interesting to me that I'm a huge Zach Tom fan. Do not get it twisted.
Yeah.
But man, the fans, especially online, they seem to have it as a foregone conclusion that Zach Tom is vastly superior than Josh Nijman, and I just don't see that. I understand there were some rough moments there at the end of last season. He was dealing with an injury. He got hurt on Christmas Day, and he gutted through it. And I think that's kind of colored people's perceptions. I'm happy with whoever wins that gig because I think they're both really talented. But to your point, it certainly is a serious luxury to have a guy who's played and started for you at both left tackle and right tackle to be able to come off the bench if anything happens. You don't turn your nose up at that. That's great. But I do think he's got a legit shot to win this gig still.
Is Sean, I'm sorry, is John Runyon the perfect Packers guard? Because you just don't hear about him or worry about him until it's time to give him more money, and then you say,
and they probably will extend him at some point. And it's fun. Again, that's another one where I see a lot of grumbling about him, and I understand he's not Josh Sitton in his prime or anything like that, but he's pretty good. It's like, and to your point, you don't really think about him because you just plug him in there and you operate the offense, and he's really solid. And yes, you can point to a play or two throughout, say, last season where he probably got taken advantage of, but that's not the norm. It doesn't pop up the way it does with Josh Myers on a consistent basis. And I think, I had someone in one of our viewers say this, like you talk about a quintessential Packer, he'll probably sign an extension, he'll probably play guard for the Packers for the next 10 years, and he'll be a Packers Hall of Famer. It's like, it's one of those guys who will just kind of always get it done and always be there. You can really count on him. I don't think he has that job locked up yet, but he's the clear favorite at right guard, and I don't see him getting dislodged.
Quintessential Packers lineman. We're chatting with Aaron Nagler, Cheesehead TV. Let's talk about Jonathan Owens.
Yes, sir.
Starter. He started it before, so it's not. Mm-hmm. He seems like a rookie because he's new here, but he's not a rookie per se. Experienced
he's 4 years
dude.
In the league, right?
Yeah.
You talk about classic Packers as far as identifying talent that has kind of grown over their kind of infancy in the NFL. The first 3 years in Houston there got basically better and more opportunities every year to the point where last year he was a full-time starter. And now you look in Green Bay, and we all went through the offseason, and we all expected a safety kind of, challenge, fight, whatever for the position. Didn't really materialize at first. It was pretty much just Savage and Ford, much like we saw last year. But in this last week or so, Jonathan Owens has put his name on that, that fight, so to speak. And judging by what we saw, that joint practice in Cincinnati and here in Green Bay, I think he's got a legitimate shot to win it. And I wouldn't be surprised if he starts to kind of solidify that tonight in Cincinnati.
Okay, Nags, they've been they were patient with Anders Carlson. We're not really panicking anymore because he started to make some kicks.
Yes.
Is there a punting competition going on? Is that
a legit one? I think. Yeah,
pretty...
absolutely. I think that's something you got to watch for tonight as well. As far as is Daniel Whalen given an opportunity to operate as a holder, right? Because you got to think that's probably part of the gig. But I tell you what, man, wow, is he impressive? I mean, every punt is this huge, monster shot. And I mean, we've certainly seen guys on Ray Nitschke Field in the summer before booming them, right? And then the weather turns and all of a sudden those disappear. And that's kind of O'Donnell's strength. As
the weapon, I think, was one.
The weapon is a perfect example.
A perfect example. Ray Shankowitz back in the olden days.
Ray Shankowitz.
But these guys, it's fine. And that's why O'Donnell is such a kind of perfect Packers punter in the sense that, is he booming them? No. But for the most part, he's pretty darn good. And he doesn't lose a whole lot when the weather turns. He did extremely well in that regard in Chicago. Seemed to hold up pretty well last year. So that's, as far as trying to tip the scales there, O'Donnell's got that going for him. But this Whalen kid, he can boom him, man. I'm telling you. You'll probably see tonight. There's zero question that he's got a legit shot at least.
Then it could come down to who's smoother and who works best with Anders Carlson with the kicking operation.
Yes,
the operation.
Exactly.
If I can use a golf analogy, when it comes to punters, it's not like you're always sitting up on the tee and just unloading with a driver.
Well,
to be successful, you got to be able to hit a knockdown 8-iron
and
work the ball left and right.
Have a lot of tools in your toolkit,
right?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
just booming it, and if I'm not mistaken, O'Donnell was pretty good last year of finding the corners.
And he's kicked in two of the toughest stadiums.
That's the thing. That's his
sending him back.
Definitely. I'll say the Whalen kid, in his defense, though, I mean, he's coming off a great season in the XFL. And his kickoffs are pretty impressive. You talk about a guy who, when he does get the opportunity to kick off, he's consistently hitting the back of the end zone. So I'm just saying, the kid's got a shot. He's got a shot, no doubt.
Yep. Hey, Nags, this is the Packers' birthday today. Did you get him anything?
No. I've spent enough money at the Packers Pro Shop that they can celebrate for several of my lifetimes.
Did they bring treats?
They're fine. They're
104.
Right
what do you get the franchise that is 100?
That has everything. It has more championships than everybody else. Has won more games than everybody else. Has fans all over the world. What more do they need?
How did they last that long? They're drinking every day.
There you
go.
That's what it is.
And yogurt.
And yogurt.
Lots of yogurt to offset.
Lots of yogurt. So tell us what's going to happen at your watch party. Are people just going to hang out with you? Or are you guys going to be
hanging out? That's
are you
going
to be amplified? Is it
no? That's exactly why I wanted to do this because through the whole season, right? I'm always on camera. I got a mic in my face. I'm always kind of on, right? Tonight it's literally just hanging out, drinking beer, and watching football. Just watch the game, talk some Packers with real live folks. They're in the room with me. It's something I don't get to do a whole lot, so I'm really excited about it.
That's pretty epic. I dig it. Did you
avail
yourself?
Me. It probably sounds lame to everybody else, but for me, it's real people in a room watching games together. What?
With the unwashed?
I love it.
Really?
I love it. I can't wait.
Did you watch any NFL exhibitions last evening?
I did. I watched quite a bit of the first game, the Patriots-Texans game. Didn't catch a whole lot of the Vikings and Seahawks, but man, it was nice to see football back on the television. I'll tell you that. I didn't even care that it was backups to backups already, but man, that was good for the soul, no doubt.
Was there any? I just saw a couple of snaps of the Patriots. Was there anything entertaining about it, or?
Oh, Tank Dell had one of the best preseason touchdown catches you'll ever see on the left corner of the end zone. Just one of those. It looked like Antonio Freeman back in the day, bouncing, catches it, puts it up, touchdown. It was great. He's a fun kid. No doubt.
That's pretty sweet. Now, okay, there's the Packers have a young wide receiver that I want to watch tonight too, that I think has a chance to tickle our fancy a couple times early on.
Pray tell,
the young man from Michigan State, Jaden Reed.
Oh, love Jaden Reed.
I there's something that tells me, and I don't know, Nags, as I was watching him, doesn't he seem more advanced than Watson and Dobbs were last year in camp? Doesn't he seem a little bit more?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
He doesn't strike me. You don't watch him go, "Oh, that's a rookie," or he'll grow into it. His size is what it is. But
I think part of it is the way they're using him, right? A lot of that motion, pre-snap motion stuff, the orbit and jet motion, getting him kind of going sideways, right? Kind of like we saw Tyler Ervin back in the day, but Reed's a legit wide receiver. So not only can you utilize him like that, but then at any moment he can break up field and run a legit route. I'm telling you, man, he's a big play waiting to happen. And what's funny is like I'm so excited about him, but I doubt we see a lot of him tonight, or at least like things that are called for him, because I think they would probably want to keep most of that under wraps. But man, yes, please, all the Jayden Reed we can get, I'll lap it up, because he is excitement on the football field.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm basing that on, other than I don't expect him to drop the first ball thrown to him. He
just looks like he belongs.
I watch him, and it was a different, and I know they're trying to use him in ways that they were Amari Rodgers, right?
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like he just looks like he's been there, and that I don't know. He just has this it thing about him that he didn't seem like a rookie to me.
Couldn't agree more.
And
but sometimes it's hard to quantify, right? You can't put your finger on it, and that's fine.
Is he going to be? If Nags is running the show, is he your punt returner, or is Keyshawn getting both? Is Keyshawn just doing kickoffs and then Jayden Reed punts?
Yeah, so far Jayden Reed has been kind of the lead punt returner, but they have been, especially during drill work, kind of going back and forth between him and Nixon. I suspect Nixon's probably there just in case, so to speak. I think Jayden Reed's probably your lead punt returner this season, and Nixon will continue to handle kickoffs. But we'll see. You never know. You guys have been around long enough to remember how many preseasons we've seen guys get back there, and they've been doing it fine in camp, and they get under the lights, and all of a sudden there's a drop, and there's a fumble, and blah, blah, blah. And having just gone through all that with Amari Rodgers, we certainly don't want to repeat. So that's why these preseason games are interesting, right?
Hard knocks waiting to happen in those moments.
Who steps up when it matters now? That's what I'll be looking for.
So, Nags, we talked to you on Tuesday. Hard Knocks premiered. What did you think of? I say that if they're going to do another episode like that, they have to change the name of the show from Hard Knocks to the Aaron Rodgers Hour.
There was a Hard Knocks on last Tuesday night.
I know you watched it.
I must have missed it. Yeah, no, I watched it, and it was very Aaron centric. And I think I said this to the guys on Zabe the other day. Like, man, we all, like the Aaron Rodgers is in New York thing would have been great like a month ago. But we've all had a lot of time to get used to it and know about it, and be all the reporting around it and all the videos online, blah, blah, blah. And then for HBO to out of the gate just be like, here's an Aaron Rodgers fest. It's
he's been.
It's for the grandmas in Dubuque.
Yes,
they just happen to tune in, and
Well, and
I like Aaron Rodgers.
He's been complaining. He's been complaining about the offense, so glad you have him, Jeff.
Mid-season form.
We're back.
Right, it took him what?
Mid-season
a week and a half of camp.
All it took was going up against another team, and Carolina has some serious pass rush, and the Jets have a suspect offensive line, and we're back.
There you go. Nags is in mid-season form, carrying the G. The journey starts tonight in earnest. Well, it started a week and a half ago. Or
just
even
quickly, Nags.
In May.
Yeah.
The carry the G. Ale,
carry the G, sir. That's right.
And the Drew and KB bourbon is now known as the Dagger.
The Dagger.
There you go.
Wayne signed off on it.
Boilermaker.
Wayne signed off on it, and he wants to drink some. He wants to drink some with us. So we got to make this
that
happen.
We will make it happen.
Absolutely. All right, next. Hopefully it'll be a celebratory cocktails, but either way, it's
preseason. There's no
doesn't matter.
losses.
We're just watching to see how they look, and it's going to be fun.
Can't
Thanks
wait.
for joining us, bud.
Thanks,
Enjoy.
Nags.
We'll talk to you Tuesday.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good night. Talk to you next week.
Aaron Nagler, cheeseheadtv.com. Check out their information and check out the Carry the G